This young mum had her baby cut out of her womb by a woman that she thought was her friend, and then she passed away. Reagan Hancock and Taylor Parker became friends online originally. They used to kind of bond about parenting and that kind of thing before they ended up becoming kind of more friends in real life. Reagan actually ended up hiring Taylor to take her wedding pictures as well, so they weren't best friends, but Taylor kind of acted as though they were closer than they were with Facebook posts and things that she'd make, but they were definitely strong acquaintances. They naturally bonded a little bit more as well when they both fell pregnant around the same time. Reagan already had a daughter who was 3 years old, and she was just thrilled to be a mum again, and Taylor was having ultrasounds and throwing gender reveal party and, you know, doing all of the stuff that you do when you are pregnant. She even started developing a bump, but she was actually faking the entire thing. She actually had a plan, and she had spent some time researching things about how to fake a pregnancy, information on how to deliver a baby early, and also how to do an at-home DIY C-section, which is just not a thing. One of the searches literally was how to deliver a preterm baby at 35 weeks, and 35 weeks is pretty much exactly how far along Reagan was at this time. One day Reagan is at home with a 3-year-old and Taylor appears at the door, and she basically straight away hits her over the head with the hopes that she would fall unconscious so that Reagan could then undertake her plan. However, it didn't really work like that. It wasn't really like the films. She didn't just take a clunk to the head and pass out. She was still with it. So Taylor continued to hit Reagan until she was a bit more incapacitated. And then Taylor went right ahead and cut Reagan from hip to hip in order to remove her baby. The desperately sad thing is that Reagan was alive this whole time. She desperately tried to fight Taylor off to the point where they were both kind of fighting over the baby, so much so that investigators found press-on nails all around the scene, which is what Reagan had been wearing. They even found one nail in her uterus, as though she'd had her hands kind of in that area trying to hold on to the baby, which is the worst thing I think I've ever heard. Unfortunately, Taylor did take the baby, and Reagan was still kind of alive at this point and desperately trying to fight to get to her and her baby when Taylor cut her throat. Altogether, she had been cut and sliced over 100 times. After her mum didn't hear from her for a little while, she is the one that called the police and raised the alarm. Taylor was arrested and caught shortly afterwards because she was driving erratically and speeding. When the police officer gets to her car window and obviously asks her to roll it down, she rolls down the window and there is a newborn baby on her lap, still with the umbilical cord attached, and she's just stuffed the end of the umbilical cord into her trousers to make it look as though she's just given birth during this car ride. Both her and the baby were rushed to hospital. Obviously they didn't know what was going on at first, but pretty shortly after they got there they realised that Taylor had not just given birth, and sadly, because of the trauma of the way that the baby had entered the world, the baby passed away. Taylor was arrested and then she was ultimately sentenced to the death penalty.